Is the world gonna end? This year? Next week?
I think it's a joke, sir. Like, Sillious Soddus.
Well, okay, maybe the world won't end on July 5th, but there are some who think a world-altering event or a near-Armageddon-level earthquake or volcano will erupt, something like that, will happen between Japan and the Philippines. Wait, Japan? I live here. So, who is saying this? Who is out there ringing these warning bells? Is it seismologist? Meteorologist? What ologist is out there warning us of impending doom? A manga-ologist? No, sorry, a manga artist. Wait, manga artist? Yes, it is but one of many predictions made in the book Watashi ga mita mirai, or in English, The Future I Saw. It was written by Ryo Tatsuki and was originally published by Asahi Sonorama in Japan in 1999, but fell out of print and started to gain a following after it was discovered that apparently on the cover of the manga was written that a major disaster was going to take place in March of 2011. And boy, did it. On March 11th, 2011, Japan experienced one of the worst earthquakes in recorded history, the worst ever recorded in Japan and the fourth worst in the world. It caused a tsunami as high as 40 meters or 133 feet tall, which is around 11 stories tall. It killed nearly 20,000 people, and to this day, there are thousands of people unaccounted for. And it was known about for 20 years, languishing as a tiny bit of text on the front cover of a manga, and we didn't listen?
We didn't listen! We didn't listen!
I mean, to be fair, that is a pretty small print. You'd think you might want to size it up a bit. Also, it doesn't tell us where it's going to happen or exactly when. Tatsuki Ryo-san has these very vivid prophetic dreams, according to her, and she jots them down into a journal just after she wakes up so she won't forget them. She also sometimes draws pictures based on what she saw. She is a manga artist or graphic artist after all. And she also writes down keywords and phrases that she hears or that play a big part in her dreams. She compiled a bunch of these into a manga and published it, which we now know today as the original publishing of Watashi ga mita mirai, or The Future I Saw. She claims these prophetic dreams either come true as predicted or in 15-year cycles. So if she dreams of something in, say, 2000, but nothing happens, it's likely to happen in 2015. So what predictions have come true? What things has she foretold that actually came to pass? Well, let's see. We start off with the Tohoku earthquake in March of 2011. That's one in the bag. Then it would seem she dreamt about Freddie Mercury and Princess Diana, foretelling both of their demises, so that's 3. She had recurring dreams of a cave, which she later found in real life. It was a World War II air raid shelter. It looked identical to the cave in her dreams. Only later she found out that was the site of a violent homicide. So, yikes, that's 4. The Kobe earthquake in 1995, that's 5. The rise and world domination by the coronavirus, that's 6. And now, she's predicting, in the year of our Lord Dr. Zayas 2025, July 5th, there shall be a calamity, the likes of which we shall never have seen the likes of which. Oh dear. But hold up. Something doesn't add up here. There's something about all this that's making my BS detector go off. Something is squidging my skeptic sponge, and I'm feeling, I don't know.
I feel stupid.
This was first brought to my attention by my beloved wife. I need to learn to type better. See, she's been seeing this news blow up all over the place, and she started to get a bit, tired of seeing the news all over the place, and she wanted to talk about it with someone, but no one at work would entertain her. So she broached the topic with me. And though she, and not to toot my own butt cheeks, has been brought around quite a bit to the skeptical side of things, thanks to my influence, but even she was starting to get worried as all this started to seem a bit too, real.
And it's real! Don't you understand? It is real!
The urban legends are coming in thick and fast around this thing, and it's become a downright cultural phenomenon. I mean, it's almost like it was manufactured to drum up even more existential angst in order for us to want to go out and, say, buy a book of prophecy just to find out exactly how the world will end in a few weeks. Or something like that. Okay, look, I don't know for certain if there's any nefarious intent going on here, but the original book basically rotted on the shelves. The publishing company had long ceased to be, and the original book only started to gain a following after the connection was made about the March 11 earthquake. This drove up demand, and sooner than you can wave a crystal ball at a David Bowie and tights! Black market deals and thousands of dollars were being traded for this book of prophecy, and it wasn't even Agnes Nutter's second volume. Oh yeah, about that earthquake prophecy. Well, it would seem it was just a throwaway line that got put in last minute as a bit of text on the cover of the book. It wasn't even really part of the manga from what I can make out, and it just says, Great Disaster, March 2011. Well, there were in fact several disasters in March 2011. Of course, the Japanese one tops the charts as one of the worst earthquakes on record, but there was another earthquake in New Zealand that happened just a few days prior that was actually quite powerful, caused numerous fatalities and upwards of $20 billion of damage. There was also massive flooding that took place in Thailand that killed around 700 people and affected the lives of over 13 million, not to mention the billions of dollars of damage and years of recovery. So not only was it one, it was three. Funny, it didn't mention any of that, because it was a single line of text. Oh yeah, the Fukushima nuclear reactor disaster took place as a result of the earthquake that year, so 4. I mean, despite what we like to think, on any given day, this planet, this solar system, the universe we live in is actively trying to kill us, as it seems just hateful toward the very notion of life. And so one could throw a dart at a multiple year calendar and predict a disaster will take place in that month, and there'd be a pretty good chance you'd be at least a little accurate. If we stretch the definition of disaster, you're likely going to be batting 1,000. This is because this is not a prediction. It isn't even a statement. It's text in the cover art of a manga from 34 years ago. It's like if we wrote something big September 1939 on a book cover in 1905, and 34 years later, when World War II breaks out, we suddenly think the writer is the reincarnation of Nostradamus. This is at best a coincidence. A lucky guess, even. It wasn't predicted as anything other than a major disaster. It sounds ominous because we give it context. If you don't count the date, it's literally 4 characters in Japanese. It was long after the earthquake that people started to connect the two, because there was originally nothing there to connect to. What about the other predictions that have come true? As for her predictions of the deaths of Freddie Mercury and Princess Diana, well, first of all, she claims to have dreamt of his death as early as 1976, and then again in 1989, before his death in 91. There is nothing to corroborate this, as we just have her word to go off of. But even being charitable, predicting the death of someone who eventually dies isn't really a prediction. If I predict rain, and one day it rains, I'm not suddenly a soothsayer or a meteorologist. And sure, from 1976 to 91, that is that 15-year cycle that she claims, but she said she dreamt about him in 89, like 3 years prior to his death, not 15. And at that time, it would have been fairly well known he was battling with AIDS. Princess Diana is even more flimsy, as she just claims to have dreamt about a picture of a woman and heard a voice crying out Diana back in 1992, with Princess Di, dying in 97. Only 5 years later, not 15. What's with that 15-year thing anyway? I'll tell you. It's called hedging. Any good fortune teller worth their weight in salt will make sure to put in plenty of vagueness into their predictions, but they'll also add some hedging just to make sure that gives them extra wiggle room if, and let's be real, when the predictions don't come true. Imagine you come to me, Warlock, Silas Sillious, master of the divine wisdom. You seek wisdom, my child. You want me to see into your future. I see love. A blossoming of warmth is to enter your life. But, my child, it will only come to pass if your heart is ready to accept it and your eyes are open to seeing it. Be on the lookout for 4 pillars, as this will guide you to happiness. But be warned, stress can blind you. What did I actually tell you? Nothing. I didn't even say you'd find true love. I simply said love, warmth, happiness. I didn't say you would find a future wife. I didn't even say you'd find a puppy. I left it intentionally vague as to make it easy to connect anything to what I said. And I put in plenty of hedging. I said it would only happen if your heart is ready to accept it. What does that even really mean? And I said your eyes must be open to seeing it. And then I finally said that stress can blind you. So in the future, if nothing happens, you can just say, I must not have opened my heart, or my eyes were too clouded, or maybe I was just too stressed. What about the 4 pillars? That sounded very specific, right? But was it? Posts on a house, pillars of a community, any group of 4 things could be interpreted as these 4 pillars. Now, here's what a true prediction would look like. Come in. Yep, I'm Sillious. I've been burdened by the gift of foresight. What do you want me to look into? You want me to tell you about finding love? Okay, just a second. All right. Next year, on April 17th at 3 p.m., you'll run into a girl named Sarah at the local supermarket. She'll drop a box of cereal on the ground and you'll pick it up. You'll ask her out on a date. She'll agree. You'll get married 3 years later. There you go. You do not want to know how bad the divorce
Give a bit, brother.
That is a prediction. For something to classify as a true prediction, it needs to be specific, and it needs to have plenty of detail. Otherwise, it's not really much different from an educated guess. The more vague a prediction, the easier it is to interpret any way you want. We looked at some of the supposed hits. What about the misses?
Take my wife!
No, I mean, what did she predict that hasn't come true? She claims Mount Fuji will erupt. So, an active volcano will one day erupt. Okay. She claims there will be a tsunami in Yokohama. Again, with the things that are likely scenarios given time and the overall likelihood of earthquakes in that area. And of course, the big one. That July 5th, this year, there will be some great upheaval or earthquake or meteor, I don't know, a giant hand coming out of the... Wait a minute.
Nani?
Did she see that Marvel movie of like the big hand coming out of the earth and then like have a nightmare about it?
That's it. Thanks.
Is she a prophet? Is she some seer into the future? Likely no. For that to be the case, we would need to ignore a whole boatload of other potential explanations before we could land on that one. Not to mention the implications of what it would mean that someone was literally able to see into the future. What is happening here is very similar to these so-called psychics who pretend to speak to the dead.
Okay, now Harry, he's telling me, he's saying that you two used to do things. And that those things involved stuff?
The things did involve stuff, yes!
It's mentalist misdirection. While you're looking at all the shiny hits, like the earthquake and the dead celebrities, you're ignoring all the misses, like the volcanoes that haven't erupted or tsunamis that haven't yet washed us away. On top of that, you're taking extremely vague statements that were made a long time ago and looking at modern things and connecting the two when there truly is no connection. Just like people have for hundreds of years for the likes of Nostradamus. So, should we be worried? Well, frankly, yes, but only just a little. You see, the chance that there will be some massive earthquake or volcanic eruption or war breaking out are all the same tomorrow as they are July 5th. They may not be super high, but the chance is there. If you live in an area prone to earthquakes and tsunami, maybe plan ahead for the chance it does happen. Have some supplies set aside. Make sure you know evacuation routes and what you can do in case there's been a disaster. It goes the same if you live in an area where there are typhoon or hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, and things like that. Should you cancel your travel plans? Hell no. Why would you? I'll say this again. The chance of something happening on July 5th are exactly the same as them happening today or tomorrow, prediction or not. She doesn't have some magical window into the future. But you know what she does have now more than she did prior to all this? Money.
Shut up and take my money!
Yep. Remember the book that wasn't flying off the shelves to begin with? Well, it is now. 500,000 copies have been sold as of May, and I'm sure that number is much higher now. A book which has the dire warning of July 5th, 2025 written in bold red letters on the cover. At least this time, they're going for broke. But making bank while they do it. I should say, this is my opinion, but it's suspicious and reeks of a good marketing campaign. Sensationalism really does wonders for the pocketbook. But I think the most telling about all of it is that a film adaptation has been announced. So at least someone out there thinks we'll all be around after July to watch it in a few years when it gets completed. Also, Tatsuki-san wants you to know that when she wrote down in her journal that it was July 5th, 2025, but her dream it was only July 2025. And remember, if it doesn't happen this year, it could happen in the year 2040, or 2055, or 2070, 2085, 2100, 2115, 2130, 2145, 2160, 2175, 2190, 2105, 22. This is obviously a departure from my regularly scheduled mayhem, but if you enjoy the unique stylings of this Sillious Soddus, then you might just be a bit of a soothsayer yourself. And if you truly want to see into the future, you're going to want to like, subscribe, and comment in order for future videos to come to pass. And make sure to share it, as your friends are no doubt in need of guidance for their near futures, and I'm the one to lead you. If you're still here after I've finished my pointless ramblings, I'll have something to make it worth your while. If you want to see more, you can click this playlist and binge all my greatest hits, but if you want something new, tough. I'll only do more if you promise to hold a seance with me and let the Ouija board choose who we get to talk to on the other side. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Oh, also, on July 6th, I'm going to try to have a live event, my first live ever, so come say hi. Assuming we're all still here. Take care of yourselves.